before I proceed into this, there is a more detail we need to talk about. See, the trait of a salesperson for the insurance will going to different from FMCG. All right. The kind of an aptitude what a person of FMCG salesperson requires is going to be totally different from the banking sector salesperson, from the B2B salesperson, from the solution salesperson. So this is a completely different field altogether. So from the perspective of FMCG, the kind of traits, attributes, characteristics, the overall behavior and the skill set, that's what we call KSA, knowledge, skill and aptitude or the abilities. The kind of skill sets, what is required for the FMCG that's distinctive from which is sourced out in insurance sales or banking sales, system sales, or even in B2B sales. So it's a different kind of a skill set that we need over here. Number one, okay, I'll divide it into two facets. Number one is the hard skill, the hard traits. Number two is the softer part. That's more behavioral and managerial. From the hard skill, the understanding of the market dynamics, that's the foremost, foremost. And that the only way you can hone it is by getting your shoes dirty and going to the market. That's the only way that you can hone this particular trait. Another important trait is the analysis, because right now majority of the work is now getting under the wave of digitalization. The transformation is happening. It's around the corner. The apps, the digitalization, whatever the sophistication and the finesse what we are bringing into the systems, that's because technology is enabling us at this point in time. And miles to go before we can sleep, miles to go before we can rest. So keeping the kind of wave is coming in and the wave of data analytics is coming in line. Another hard skill which is important, another trait which is important is to ability to populate the number, ability to find the meaning from the data, from the raw data. That's another quite, I mean, not only that, making the insight from the data or drawing insights from the data, another thing which is very, very congruent and apparent and very significant is that you have to put that insight into an actionable plan as well. So that's another trait. From the softer perspective, the managerial perspective, the biggest deficit what Pakistan is having right now is of emotional intelligence. So by saying emotional intelligence, it's by conflict management. By saying emotional intelligence, I mean the ability to work with your peers. By saying emotional intelligence, you need to have the understanding of the other person as well. There is no empathy, by the way. Yeah, guys, there is no empathy in the boardroom. Why? Because there is no empathy in the classroom. So the graduates who are studying over here, they are going to be the part of a boardroom. So there is a lack of empathy, and these all traits when work together in a synergy and create a potpourri, eventually there becomes a deficit of leadership as well. So initially what I say, the fundamental attribute what a salesperson should have is a nerve of emotional intelligence. Just in case he's not good with the market, he will going to learn it by going to the market. Just in case he doesn't know how to draw the insights from the data, the managers, the executives will going to go through a workshops, they will going to learn it. But emotional intelligence, that draws from the character. And which is difficult to learn. First off, soft skills are difficult to learn because they are talking more about the concreteness. They are talking more about changing you from the paradigm, from the crux. That's exactly where you are. So cutting the story short, the three most predominant traits which are imperative for the salesperson. Number one, the ability to scan the market, the go-to guy, which is what I call the bias for action, and the go-getter in fact. Number two is the ability to draw insights from the raw data, which is your analysis and analytical skill. Number three, that's your emotional intelligence. Have to play a lot of roles at the same time. At times he need to be voracious like a wolf. At times he needs to be calm like a lion. At times he need to be very, very diplomatic like a cat. And at times this person needs to be very focused like a hawk. All right, so just giving you a metaphorical context. The tactics that you need, the most important tactic that I think, I personally believe that if someone is working in FMCG predominantly, and not only FMCG, but in any sector where you have a massive footprint and you are dependent on that. So in that and in that particular situation, one thing which is very, very significant, that's the first mover advantage. Right now, if I give you a very latest example, that's 2020. So companies have started to lock their contracts. So every company is going to the market, locking their contracts, locking their space, locking the deals with the trade. Just in case if I'm losing out, so somebody else will going to have a first mover advantage, despite of the fact that if I'm coming later on, is still with a lucrative plan, that's will not going to be lucrative for the trader because the deal has been done by the competitor. All right. So number one thing what you need to be very assured of is be a go-getter, be the first one. And what is a prerequisite of being a first one? What is the requisite? Is that by being a regular visitor to the market, keep a pulse of the market on your finger. You need to have a, you need to have a very stringent and very keen kind of an observation what's happening in the market, just in case if you're losing out, so somebody else will going to make it space. So be the first one. And the only way that you can be the first one is by how close you are to the market. The more close you are to the market, the more visits you are going to do, the more abreast of the knowledge you will going to be. And that is why, and that's exactly the feedback from the market what you will going to give to your RSM, regional sales managers, to the trade team, to the channel team, which will going to help you and support you to make conducive, lucrative, profitable plans for all the stakeholders.